Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. It's been a aggravating afternoon. I went and walked around quite a nice golf course, but missed 3 putts for the afternoon for my own enjoyment, hence why I'm wearing this. And now I just wanted to come in and give you some juicy reaction from the Jimbo, because you love Jimbo's juice. World Cup draw, it's happened, here it is. There she is. And this just made me even more irritated, because England will play. Well, it was so nearly a really good group, but it's now much harder than people think. There will be obviously expectation for England to get through. Of course, absolutely. They should be favourites. One of the favourites, not the favourites, but one of the favourites for this, because we've got a wicked squad, as proven by my live stream about the England squad, which is available now. 140,000 people watched it. Must be something good about it. But England made it through, obviously, and should make it through this group. And it was so close to being a belter of a group for me. For those of you who don't know, I'm half English, half Scottish. And I just wanted freedom from that. There is not a game in world football that I hate more than England versus Scotland. Now, Wales fans will be going, oh, don't worry about it, Scotland won't make it through. And there's a lot to do for Scotland. Of course, they've got to get through Ukraine. Then they've got to beat Wales just to make it to the tournament. Scotland, the Scotland half of me is kind of like, do you know what? It's not terrible, that. It's not terrible, because the USA are beatable. Iran, of course, are beatable. So it's, you know, you're gunning for second place, the Scottish half of me is saying. And so there's a great opportunity there of, you know, sneaking a draw with USA, beating Iran, USA drawing with Iran, USA losing to England. Happy days. And actually, also, Scotland, of course, remember, drew with England at Wembley. So they raised their game. And that's what I mean when I'm talking about England and this being nearly a great group. But if Wales or Scotland make it through, and again, Ukraine could obviously make it through, and that will be that will also be a problem to a point, because the names on the paper, digital paper, don't really reflect the truth here. Because let's say it's Scotland or Wales, right? You've got Iran, who of course will give it everything and could be tricky, but you know, you would expect us to be okay, right? USA, young squad with very little pressure on them. The real aim for them is to be ready for 2026, where they host the tournament, but they do have some decent players there. Again, you know, England will be favourites for that game. But the USA and Wales or Scotland, if they make it through the group, their performance will jump. And more so than anyone, if we'd got anyone else. And so that makes it very difficult. And it makes those games against the team that is the 4th pick of the group, you know, the 4th pot, it makes it so much harder than it looks. And that's why I'm really annoyed by that, because it was so close. USA, you'll take that, and you'll take the fact that, okay, they're going to like heighten their efforts because it's USA England, and they've had the best of us back in 1950, and of course got the draw when Rob Green had a mare. But I still think we would have obviously navigated that. And it turns it into derby games. Like, I don't know if you've had that. If you support a London club, so like with QPR, what happens, it happened a few years ago, and it happens quite often, is that in the Championship, there's loads of London clubs. And it just makes all those games harder to get points, because you're not playing Charlton, who are 15th. You're playing Charlton in a London derby, and they're up for it. And it just makes it harder. So hopefully there's no absolute disasters here. You know, we've got no excuse. But of course the expectations will be very, very high. And if we can win that group, we will play the second team out of Qatar and Ecuador. And I think that first jump across, so Group B, I mean, that was an absolute dream for us. Because you're going to play Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. Netherlands, you would expect to dominate that group. So Ecuador or Senegal, you would imagine. You would imagine Qatar would drop, but obviously they're going to lift their performances as well. They actually beat Ecuador recently. I think it's 2018, 2019. Both those they beat them. So they're not as bad as you think, but you would be surprised if they were able to make it through. So regardless of that, really, at least you're not playing, let's say, Group F, where, you know, Canada could actually cause a bit of a stir here. Morocco aren't terrible. Ilias Chair, my boy. Adel Taarabt, my boy. Croatia, of course, as well, finalists in the last one. So that, you know, if we go through the other groups, I think, you know, in the next round, that is the group you're looking for, isn't it? Obviously, because Qatar aren't a top seed, and so it's a bit more lightweight. So that part of it's good. And then we do what we've done in the last couple of tournaments, hopefully. You wait for the draw to clean up a little bit. I'm not really sure who we would have after that. Let me know in the comments. I'm just sort of obviously come home and just wanted to react to it. In terms of the other groups, it's, of course, like, this is the problem is we will preview all of these. Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll preview them. And it'll all just get ripped up, won't it? But Argentina, you would expect them to get through, although Poland is tricky. Mexico could be trickier than you imagine. You expect them to get past Saudi Arabia. France, you would expect to be fine there as well. I think it's, I want to say it's the New Zealand-Costa Rica one that makes it into that one. So you still should be fine. Spain, that's interesting. Australia, if they get through, have they got anything to offer? Maybe. But really, you expect those top two to do the job. Belgium, Canada, Morocco, Croatia. I think Canada could actually, like, they are so exciting, aren't they? It'd be interesting to see if they could do something. I've been sort of diving into them. I didn't know much about it all, but the squad that they've got and the players that they've got are quite exciting. Brazil, this is the group of death, if we want to call it a group of death, if we could consider it that. Because Serbia, you know, with Vlahovic, with Mitrovic, Tadic, all the itches. Could be an itchy proposition. Switzerland as well, very, very awkward team. Much better than they probably get credit for as well. And made life difficult for England recently. Obviously, watched that game. And Bolo, really good at an awkward at international level. Brazil, you would expect to be absolutely fine. But it's up for grabs the other one. And also Group H. Portugal need to get the shit together, because on paper they're phenomenal. Game's not paid on paper, guys. Or digital paper, as I referred to earlier. Uruguay they could be a real dark horse this year. Really, really could. That's probably the best Uruguayan 11 there's been in a very long time. And Korea, obviously you've got our boy Son Heung-min, who could do bits. Could always do bits. So it's up for grabs. But England, I just wanted to react to that quickly. I think it's all right. And I like the initial path. After that, who knows? I just think it will be stickier than we would have liked and even if Ukraine get through, because, I mean, who knows what's going on right now? And God, we hope pray that there's not a war-torn country when it gets to that stage. Who knows what the future holds when it comes to that? But of course, they will be playing with, I guess, a gratitude, or do you know what I mean? And an incredible patriotism for their country. So it's whatever group we're going to be in, I think we should have been okay. I just really could have done without, like, Scotland not being an option, just so I could just have that freedom to support both. I just absolutely hate that game so fucking much. Sorry for swearing. Anyway, guys, have an amazing weekend. Back for the Fallout on Monday. Lots of good stuff coming. So if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you're not, then thank you. Hit the like button as well. And yeah, see you soon. Aggravating.